Let us read further. The key is to learn to keep your mind disciplined enough so that it doesn't trick you into thinking that this time it's worth closing. If you slip, get back up. The minute you slip, the minute you open your mouth, the minute you start to close and defend yourself, get back up. Just pick yourself up and affirm inwardly that you don't want to close, no matter what happens. Affirm that all you want is to be at peace and to appreciate life. You don't want your happiness to be conditional upon the behavior of other people. It's bad enough that your happiness is conditional upon your own behavior. When you start making it conditional upon other people's behavior, you are in serious trouble. Things are going to happen to you, and you are going to feel the tendency to close. But you have the choice to either go with it or let it go. Your mind will tell you that it's not reasonable to stay open when these things happen. But you have limited time left in your life. And what's really not reasonable is to not enjoy life. If you have trouble remembering that, then meditate. Meditation strengthens your center of consciousness so that you're always aware enough to not allow your heart to close. You remain open by simply letting go and releasing the tendency to close. You just relax your heart when it starts to tighten. You don't have to be outwardly glowing all the time. You're just joyful inside. Instead of complaining, you are just having fun with the different situations that unfold. Unconditional happiness is a very high path and a very high technique because it solves everything. You could learn yoga techniques such as meditation and postures, but what do you do with the rest of your life? The technique of unconditional happiness is ideal because what you are doing with the rest of your life is already defined. You are letting go of yourself so that you can remain happy. As far as your spirituality goes, you are going to grow very rapidly. A person who actually does this every moment of every day is going to notice the cleansing of their heart. This is because they are not getting involved in the stuff that comes up. They're also going to notice the purification of their mind because they are not getting involved in the mind's melodrama. Their Shakti, that is spirit, is going to awaken even if they know nothing about Shakti. They will come to know a happiness that is beyond human understanding. This path solves daily life and it solves spiritual life. The greatest gift one can give to God is to be pleased with his creation. Do you think God likes to be around people that are happy or people that are miserable? It's not hard to tell. Just think about it by imagining that you are God. You created the heavens and earth so that you can play and experience yourself. And now you're dropping down to check on your humans. So God asks the first human he sees, "How are you doing?" The human says, "What do you mean? How am I doing?" "Well, do you like it here?" "No, I don't like it here." "Why not? What's wrong?" "That tree is bent in 5 places. I want it to be straight." The person went out with somebody else and that person ran up $100 phone bill. This person has a nicer car than mine and that person dresses funny. It's just terrible. Plus, my nose is too big, my ears are too small, and my toes are weird. I'm not happy with it. I don't like any of it. So God says, well, how about the animals? The animals, the ants, the mosquitoes bite you. It's a terrible thing. I can't go out at night because there are all these animals out there. They howl and poop all over the place, and I just don't like it. Do you think God likes listening to this? He says, what do you think? I'm a complaint department. Then he goes and visits somebody else. And again, he asks, how are you doing? This person says, I am ecstatic. God says, wow, well, how do you like things? They are beautiful. Everything I look at just creates waves of joy inside me. I look at that bent tree, it just blows me away. The ant comes and bites me, and it's just so amazing that a tiny ant could be brave enough to bite a giant like me. Now, you guess who God wants to hang out with. One of the ancient names of God in the yogic tradition is Satchidanand, eternal conscious bliss. God is ecstasy. God is as high as it gets. If you want to be close to God, learn to be joyful. If you remain spontaneously happy and centered, no matter what happens, you will find God. That's the amazing part. Yes, you will find happiness, but that's nothing compared to what you are really going to find. Once you have passed through trial by fire, and you are thoroughly convinced that you will let go no matter what, then the veils of the human mind and heart will fall away. You will stand face to face with what is beyond you because there is no longer a need for you. When you are done playing with the temporal and finite, you will open to the eternal and infinite. Then the word happiness can't describe your state. That's where words like ecstasy, bliss, liberation, nirvana, and freedom comes in. The joy becomes overwhelming and your cup runneth over. This is a beautiful path. Be happy. Beautiful chapter. Now let's move to the next chapter, that is 16, the spiritual path of non-resistance. One should view their spiritual work as learning to live life without stress, problems, fear, or melodrama. The path of using life to evolve spiritually is truly the highest path. There really is no reason for tension or problems. Stress only happens when you resist life's events. If you are neither pushing life away nor pulling it towards you, then you are not creating any resistance. You are simply present. In this state, you are just witnessing and experiencing the events of life taking place. If you choose to live this way, you will see that life can be lived in a state of peace. What an amazing process life is. This flows of atoms through the time and space. It's just an eternal sequence of events that take form and then instantly dissolve into the next moment. If you resist this amazing force of life, tension builds within you and gets into your body, mind, and spiritual heart. It is not difficult to see the tendency towards stress and resistance in daily life. But if we want to understand this tendency, we must first examine why we are so resistant and just letting life be life. What is it inside of us that even has the ability to resist the reality of life? If you look carefully inside yourself, you will see that it's you, the self, the indwelling being that has this power. It is called willpower. Will is the real force that emanates from your being. It is what makes your arms and legs move. They don't just move randomly by themselves. They move the way they do because you exert with to make them do so. You use the same will to hold on to thoughts when you want to concentrate on them. The power of self, when it is concentrated and directed into the physical, mental, and emotional realms, creates a force. And we call that force will. That's what you see, sorry, that's what you use when you try to make things happen or not happen. You are not helpless in there. You have the power to affect things. It is amazing to see what we end up doing with our will. We actually assert our will in opposition to the flow of life. If something happens that we don't like, we resist it. But since what we are resisting has already taken place, what good is it to resist? If your best friend moves away, it's understandable that you don't like it. But your inner resistance to that event for years to come down does not change the fact that they did indeed move away. It does not do anything to the reality of the situation. The fact is, it cannot even be argued that we are resisting the actual situation. For instance, if somebody says something that we don't like, obviously our resistance won't stop them from having said it. What we are really resisting is the experience of the event passing through us. We don't want it affecting us inside. We know it is going to make mental and emotional impressions that will not fit with what already in there. So we exert the force of will against the influence of the event in an attempt to stop it from passing through our hearts and minds. In other words, the experience of an event does not stop with our sensory observation of it. The event also has to pass through the psyche at an energetic level. This is a process we experience every day. The initial sensory observation touches our mental and emotional energy pools, creating movements in the energy. These movements pass through the psyche much like physical impact ripples through water. Amazingly, you actually have the ability to resist these movements of energy. The assertion of willpower can stop the energy transfer, and that's what creates tension. You can wear yourself out struggling with the experience of a single event or even a single thought or emotion, and you know that all too well. So I think we can stop here and read from page number 90